Hey, what's up everybody? It's maybe Matt and I'm about to start a brand new Cities Skylines Let's Play series. I'm going to attempt to build a megapolis on this map before Cities Skylines 2 comes out. I'm using the Rosalyn Peninsula map from the Campus DLC with the 81 tiles mod installed, so I have access to the full map. This map is one of the smaller ones, but I'm sure we can still cram a lot in here. I'm sticking with the tropical theme to build a massive city inspired by places like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and the south of Spain. I've been to a lot of these places in the last few years and I'm in love with the architecture, I'm in love with the way that they build the cities. I love San Francisco's public transport system. I love the way that Malaga is a blend of very old, very new, and Los Angeles is my favourite place in the entire world, so I'm going to be sprinkling a few bits of LA in here too. This Let's Play series is going to be a little bit different to my Paloma Valley series. I'm not going to be going through the milestones and building a city in the usual way. Instead, I'm starting with unlimited money and all milestones unlocked, so I'm going to be building to make the city look the way that I want it to look instead. I want to see how much I can fit into this city before Cities Skylines 2 comes out in October. So if you're with me, let's start. So I've decided that I'm going to call this city Calathea because not only is it a combination of California and Andalusia, which is the region of Spain where I've got most of my inspiration from, but it's also the name of a plant that I really like, so I thought it was a good combination of lots of different things, and it's just a really beautiful name as well. So this is my inspiration for Calathea. There's going to be a lot of greenery, a lot of old style buildings with some new ones peppered in, and some very deliberate green spaces. I took a lot of inspiration from the boulevard that goes along the waterfront in Malaga, as well as the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. So all of these places have quite old architectural styles, whether they're old places or not. They kind of pick up pieces from old European styles. I've downloaded quite a lot of assets from the workshop for this city, and I'll probably still be downloading more. The main ones that I've got so far are from the creator Highly Explosive Serenade. They've got a whole Mediterranean themed pack with low and high density houses, police stations, fire stations, the full works. Another thing that's going to be very important in this build is public transport. Now this map has 2 highways and 1 train line, and only having 1 train line can cause problems if you don't do it right. So I'm going to be very, very deliberate about how I do the trains in this city, and I'm going to make sure that we don't cause ourselves any problems. I'm going to be using quite a lot of mods and assets in this build, so it's not going to be vanilla by any means, but it's also not going to be the most heavily modded video you've ever seen. I'm still working out how to use Find It, and I have downloaded but haven't yet used the Bob tool. So I'm going to give that a go in this Let's Play and see how I get on with it. Now this is my plan for this city. I want to include as many different things as I can. I want to do all of the different types of industry. I want to do a nature reserve, a zoo and an amusement park, as well as a city park within the main city area. I also want to have at least 1 campus area, if not more, once the population gets high enough, and as many different public transport routes as I can fit in. And having lots of different types of public transport puts less pressure on the roads and less pressure on each method of transport. So I have milestones turned off and I have unlimited cash for this build, but they're still going to have demands for housing, commercial and industry. So I'm going to try and play to that as much as I can by giving them what they want and trying to fit builds around that. So the first thing we're going to start off with in this build is a small rural town and some farming industry. Okay, so I've just added in this roundabout highway end. I've had this downloaded from the workshop for a while, but I've never actually used it. And I never really know what to do with the end of the highway, so this is perfect. It just turns into a roundabout and it has 3 different entrances and exits, which are going to be perfect for the things that I've got planned. So the rural town and farming industry are going to be in this area over here. There's a lot of fertile land here, so it's perfect for some industry. And I'm going to be doing a very small, kind of semi-rural, Mediterranean-inspired town on this piece of land next to it, just so it can service the farm. Okay, so here is the first rural town. All of the houses in this build are from Highly Explosive Serenade, as are most of the facility buildings as well. These buildings all come from the same pack, so they work really, really well together. They have a little bit of like a courtyard space in the middle, but they sit really flush against each other and have different heights for a little bit of variation. I've made this little plaza in the middle here of all of these houses, with a little fountain at the back and a few benches. I don't know if it's actually usable, but I thought it was a nice touch. And over here is a police precinct. It looks almost identical to the houses next to it, so you wouldn't even really know that that is a police station. And then there's a small commercial strip down the front with some benches and some market stalls. I've tried to do a little bit of detailing with the back here by putting a fence across these ugly dumpsters, but it seems to have got rid of some of my markets by doing that. There's a small row of market shops here that are from the same creator that built these houses, so they have that kind of Mediterranean feel and they block off the back of this ugly bookstore. Here is the primary school. It's got a little courtyard down the middle. There's a couple of parts from the Hotels and Retreats DLC next to it. There's a little pathway going through the middle and a football pitch. Football pitches are really common to find in European towns, so I thought it went with the style of building really well. And over here is the high school. Now, this building is from a different creator. I couldn't find a high school in Highly Explosive Serenade stuff, so I found the next closest thing. It's a very grand building, but it can only hold 50 students, which in my eyes is perfect for this because I don't want them to be too highly educated. I want them to be kind of the farm workers, so I don't want them getting too educated and then running off into the big city because we still need people to work the farms. So I did a little bit of detailing out the back with a park from the workshop and a couple of football goals and some benches. And then there's some more houses back here with a medical centre and a fire station. Now these had entrances out the back, so I put this other road down the back here. They don't quite line up and the surface painter isn't really working how I want it to work, so we'll just pretend that they all touch. And then up the back here, Highly Explosive Serenade had a church in their Mediterranean pack, so I thought it would be a good idea to add this because this deals with death care, I believe. So it looks perfect for this type of town. I'm probably going to be doing some detailing around this at some point, but I haven't quite decided what exactly to do. I don't really want to add massive car parks because that's going to take away from the feel of the town. And these are all parking roads, so they shouldn't really have a problem with that. But I will come back in another episode and decide what to do on the end of this little mini peninsula here. So I may come back at some point and add more houses if the demand increases. I have a feeling that this probably won't be enough houses to begin with, especially when the demand is very, very high straight off the bat. But for now, I'm going to leave this where it is and I'm going to start on the farming district. Now this fertile land here is perfect for a farming district. It's really, really large, so I can do kind of more of a sprawling farm structure rather than just a grid pattern like I've done in some other builds. So I'm going to get building on that and then I'll come back to explain. here is my farming complex. It's probably not the best farming complex you've ever seen, but I wanted to make it look a little bit more organic and less grid-like. I know with these large square assets, a grid is kind of a go-to, but I didn't want it to just be like every other farming build I've ever built. So there's still plenty of space for detailing, and I will be coming back and doing that at some point. But for now, I'm very happy with where we've got to, and I need to do something very important, which is putting in electricity and water for these two areas. I thought this area would probably be living off the land with the farming district, so that's why I've used wind turbines, and I got this water tower from the workshop, which I thought goes quite well with the assets that I've used so far. It's not exactly the same brick structure, but it's close enough. So now all we have to do is press play and wait for the people to come in, and I'm going to be sure to make note of the first resident's name so that we can name this district after them. So that's where I'm going to end this first episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to the first part of my Calathea Tropical City build. The Calathea episodes are going to come out on Sundays and Mondays. I want to get as many hours possible before Cities Skylines 2 comes out, and then we can put this down and pick up the new game. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to see, and I'll try my best to build it. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.